Welcome back to News in Focus, and we're shifting from one colleague to another from Absa Bank, and I'd like to welcome Pragashani Reddy. She's the executive for digital at Absa Group for Relationship Banking. Pragashani, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV.
Thank you for having me.
Pragashani, before we touch on, of course, what we brought you here for and to talk about, women within the financial sector, I want to touch on digital because, of course, you hold quite a senior position within digital banking. Of course, 15 years ago, no one would have believed that banking could have been done through an app. It could have been done through your home. It could have been done anywhere as long as you had data. How have you seen the progression of digital banking, not only from an Absa side, but also from all the banks that use digital banking here in South Africa?
Thanks. I think that when you look at digital banking and the progression over the last few years, the acceleration really happened post the pandemic. So you have, BC, before COVID, and then you've got after COVID. And those are the situations that we've been seeing where digital banking has really come to the fore because people have moved away from bricks and mortar. When they were forced to, they then moved onto online platforms. But it extended beyond banking. And I think that's where the entire leveraging of digital came to the fore, because I think that moving on to online platforms, using mobile, using the web, has really enhanced the experience for clients, because you have self-service at exceptional levels where you're able to monitor your investments, you're able to track your online spending, you're able to even do online share trading. Everything is at quite an advanced level. But I do think that in recent years, there have been multiple developments, and I do think that clients are now able to adapt and to also see the benefits going forward. Because remember, it goes beyond just banking. So it has actually extended into other facets around what clients would actually require.
And of course, you want to maintain that relationship on a human basis, because many relationship bankers generally would communicate on email or on phone. So how important is that, maintaining that human-to-human relationship post the pandemic?
So I think in terms of a customer experience, you get different segments of customers, and all customers would then have access to having that human touch, be it via the branches, be via call centers, or even for them just to reach out and to say that they need their relationship manager. Ultimately, the choice remains with the client, and we then facilitate different avenues that they can actually connect with us. And I do think that in terms of looking at how far apps have come and how far digital has come, the one thing we do need to remember is that AI needed to be programmed. Machine learning needed to be coded in the first place, all done by a human. Because AI can think, but it cannot feel.
We'll touch on AI on another time. It's so much to speak with regards to artificial intelligence. So, Pragashani, let's talk about women representation within the financial sector. I had Kanya earlier on, and she said that we're getting there, but so much more needs to happen. Where do you see progression of women within the financial sector?
I would have to say that I'm fortunate to be part of the Absa Group that has really embraced the growth of women from diverse backgrounds, as well as to extend to enable women through the different business divisions and the different programs that we've now been developing and have gone into partnerships with. So I think that for us, it's definitely growing in strides. And we have a complement of different types of people, both male and female, at different skills. And I think that it's really a good representation across the board.
Pragashani, Kanya was speaking also about the Women's Forum that you guys had within Absa. How important were those conversations? And of course, many of your male colleagues were also involved in there. The space needs to open from their part also in order for there to be more female representation. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about how important were those conversations within the forum for the continuous enhancement of female representation.
I would say when we have those conversations, it's certainly very open, and the male counterparts have certainly been receptive around embracing the fact that you would have the females, that are coming into the world of tech, as well as into the broader areas of business. And I certainly see the value of the yin and yang, where when you look at business, you need to have that diversity. And in terms of inclusion, Absa has embraced that as part of their culture and what they stand for.
President Cyril Ramaphosa on August the 9th delivered, his Women's Day speech in the Northern Cape, and he spoke about how there needs to be more enhancement, more inclusion of females within the economy. It's getting slow, but Africa is there in terms of having that female representation. South Africa is there in having more of that female representation. What do you feel government needs to do from a legislative perspective to allow more female representation, but not just females, females of color, those who were part of the previously disadvantaged due to apartheid and colonialism?
I would have to say that when it comes to representation, a lot of it is actually self-driven. Women need to stand up and take their seat at the table. That is something that is internally driven and is certainly very intrinsic around what it is they want to achieve. Women have certainly stepped up and occupied spaces that is across the entire spectrum of business, irrespective of whether or not it's within private or in public sector.
Pragashani, in the last 30 years, the country has seen many strides. There are flaws, but of course, as South Africans, we tend to overlook them. We tend to look at the positivity. When you look at female representation in the financial sector from CEO positions, Mary Vilakazi at First Rand Bank, Leila Fourie at the JSE. You've got Busi Mavuso, who sits on Business Leadership South Africa as its Chief Executive Officer. Of course, we can count it on our fingers, and we'd like to get to a stage where we are not counting them, but they are made up of a larger share. How would you see this progression in the last 30 years, and what you feel more needs to be done? What would you feel is needed to be done more to continue this enhancement and growth?
So I do think that mentorship and networking play a critical role. Further than that, in terms of where we are in terms of accelerating development, the STEM programs, science, technology, electrical, the thing is what we're looking at is to say the mathematical perspective is all embedded as part of that, right? And we are finding that more and more women are getting educated around the value of going down those avenues. And I have noticed as well in terms of the curriculums at schools, across the country, it's becoming the norm, and that's certainly encouraging because we also do support that, where you want to see females in the organization become interested and become embedded in the organization within previously considered roles that were part of gender stereotyping and those related biases.
Pragashani, one final question. Of course, you've been in university, you've been, you studied within the commerce sector. For any aspiring female that really wants to get into the commercial sector, they may look at it as daunting. They may look at it as something that is not, going to be something that's going to eat them up in a figurative perspective. But what would your advice be to a young student at university studying commerce that wants to get into the Absas of this world, the Nedbanks of this world, the Standard Banks of this world, and wants to make a meaningful contribution to the economy of this country?
I would have to say that considering the current generation, leverage your social network. Connect with the right type of people that you believe is going to assist you in terms of looking at your LinkedIn network. Connect with ourselves. We're very receptive to, young up-and-coming students that want to come into our field, irrespective of gender, because we encourage everyone, to really reach out and to be part of our world. And we would certainly be more than, welcoming in terms of them understanding exactly what it takes in terms of furthering their careers with us. The one thing I would also encourage them to do is to consider shaping, their future by spending time shadowing people that they believe could be strong mentors that would then help them get into those careers.
Prakashi, thank you so much for joining us here on News in Focus on Hilaal TV. Much appreciated.
I appreciate it.
That's
it's been an honor.
Pragashani Reddy, the Executive for Digital at Absa Group for Relationship Banking. Well, that's all we have for you here on News in Focus. From myself, Ross Patel, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.